We're going to see now B'Edish HaMizbach, Seches moed katan, daf Heya mit Aleph. On the Mabenein, so the Gemara is going to say here, what is the difference between Rabbi Akiva and Chachamim? We had a Mishnah in Sechtes Nagoim. It says there, if a person had a nega of gris, and then the next week he comes back, and that gris went away, but it got replaced in a different area, and there's also a mechia. So Rabbi Akiva says it's not it's a continuation of the first one. Chum says teroke batchila. Question is, according to both of them, you're tame, because even if it's teroke batchila, it has a michya, so you're tame right away. The Kiva says it's like you came back after a week and you see a michya. The same halacha applies. Halacha is, if you come back after a week and you see a michya, it's tame. So what is the difference halacha between Rabbi Akiva and Chacham? The Gemara is going to answer now. Shmuel is going to say, Pericha b'neian. If it grew, the second nega grew and it spread out into the whole body. Rabbi Akiva make it ma'asik perich min atom. The halacha is, if a person was a musgar and then he comes back and there was a pericha, he becomes tar from that. It's called perich min atom. He's perech from a matzav of hezger. So what happens like this? There's a nega A, let's call it, and now he comes back, and this nega, the second nega, that's called nega B, is pereach. So if it's a continuation, it means he's still tame and has a din of pereach minatome, and the person becomes toher. Akiva mihikat ma'ase ki pereach minatome. Tar. The halach is perech min atoma, it becomes tar. Rabban Amr Chayrihi, it's a different one. Ki perech min atar tama. According to Chachamim, you say the first nega is gone. Now you come to the coin for the first time, and in front of the coin's eyes, this nega B starts growing and growing, and it covers the whole body. But the coin said already you're tar, so it's perech min atar, you become tam. This is nafkemina. If it's a new nega, it means that you 1 second you're tor legamre, you're tor, and when the kohen wants to be metame you, it's perech menator, mekrech menator is tummy. However, if the first nega never left, it's perech menatome, it's tor. This is the story. The kohen, when he was about to see the second nega, he was seeing how it's pereach bekuloi, and that's the shaila. Okay. Some say over B'Shem Shmuel, so this Gemara here is very interesting. It's not changing too much. It's just saying that it's adding to something that's just a technical thing here. That the din is there's a din Mesechta and Mesechtas Nagam. It's hard to understand why the Gemara brings it in here. It's like a side din, that the din of pericha, that's matar, the din that he has to be that a nega that's tummy, or that's a musgar, and it's come back after a week and it's spread out. So it says there in Masechet Nagam, it does not have to spread out on a place where there's a shchin that's still meredis. It's still still a raw piece of shchin. And that area is not considered part of the basar, that it has to spread out also in that area. So let's continue to see that to the end of this sugya to understand what he's trying to say here. Basically, it's just like the same. Now the Gemara is going to explain what do I want to say with this Shechina Moed? What does this say? The Gemara is explain begin the Hu because it's a different one. Ha in he tahira. If it be exactly the same, that's what Rakiva says. That it's a continuation of the first one. So it's pericha and it's top. Va'asik haid omer shtum balokish is palgen parchboy b'shchin hamoyret. So the story goes like this. After Shviya wrote it pshat, after he started machmas shapas b'kulay, but it did not grow in the place of the shchin hamoyret because that's not ma'akiv the pericha. Then the shchin got healed and it was perech there. So the question is it considered like a new pericha? If chashuv kepoisem and ator tom. Rabbi Yochanan Omer Tor, Yochanan says no. This that is spread out in the Shechina Moired doesn't make it a new pricha. Doesn't make it a poisem minator because it's just a continuation of the pricha. It was pereach, and now that this got healed, there's pereach there also. Because no, he says right now we have to view it like now it's pereach on a tor. The person is tor already. Now it's pereach. Pereach on a tor is tummy. So he's bringing down this halacha here to teach you that before he says pricha b'shchina moed b'neyan. It sounds like the Yeshua is trying to say here that the same concept that we use in this story by pricha b'shchina moed is used also by Rabbi Akiva. In other words, he's trying to say that there's a certain parallel between this machlokes and that machlokes. Just like there, the Rabbi Akiva says a svara that it's the same, it's just jumped around. The same here, we don't view it like a new pricha, they say it's just continuing the pricha is continuing. It got healed, now it's continuing. It's like one long pricha, right? So it's one long pricha. You don't say that it's considered pereich on a Torah. And the other shit that says no, it won't. We have to look at like two separate things. So this machlokes Rabbi Akiva and Rabbanan is talu in this machlokes Rabbi Akiva and Rabbanan will also be talu that the machlokes Rabbi Yochanan v'Reish Lakish gave pricha v'shchina moed. Okay, well it's not so simple. It's difficult to understand, but I think this is the pshat here in this gemara here. It's a little bit awesome. He used to bury the convicts in mounds. As akala basa and melaknas at some of the koymis by rozim. Oisa yom is apple, namacher is samech loimishin noichi avoisa benati. And then they were happy because we know that once it's akala basa, that's when you got a full kapara. That's called the day of likat atzamas. You take the bones and you bury it in a special box. If you just carrying the urn, it's not you're not actually picking out the bones, then there's no din of likat atzamas to be v'noig avedas that day. Yes, that summers because Evan is very closed and it doesn't you don't doesn't you don't feel anything you don't the bones don't but by eights since eights is a can has some kind of wetness to it so that it's considered like you're touching the bones. Amalei Rabbi Yossi after time b'arshal eights ein beim shneket atzomas eight likt atzomas ma viren ba fikarsen memakon memakon. The Avelis likt atzomas is only if you pick wrapped in sheets. That's when it's called likt atzomas. Tana Kain, likat atzamas, malakat etzem etzem, which is akla buster. That's called likat atzamas. That you take each bone, means you actually picking it up with your hands. That's called likat atzamas. Chag Hashem is either likute atzamas kishmuan. It has a din like the Yom HaShmuah. Tana. Ein shmuah lelikute atzamas. There's no din of, it means Yom Sheshoma, that there was, let's say he heard that on Tuesday that Sunday there was likat atzamas. There's no din of Yom Shmuel. If you hear the next day, then there's no din. It means it was already nilkat and he's ready. It's already done the whole thing. But still, since he heard it the same day, yes, we know it. B'yesh shir likut atzamas. Even one bone. The kifre, the kroel is abel krib ache, like krib ache. This krib ache is the one that says here, ba'aron shel evan. Ba'aron shel eight means even if it's eight, it's considered really to that songs. Then you have to make kriya if that happens. If it's an eight, then you have to make kriya. Shaloi the Thomas kev yosef. But you're not allowed to be telling yourself a kohen only when you do like a b'yosef, when you do it with the sheets. That's considered like you're doing the real likat atzamas. That's mutal atamas. Tom, the kut atzamas in oimalem kin b'nei oimalem leberchas aveda in tichom aved. Ene berchas aveda asher b'shura. You don't say all these things that you used to say by regular mace. Berchas aveda tichom aveda. Tana avul oimalem devar. My devarim, but only kilusen. You say some kind of shvachim for the mace. That you say when by the time of Diktat Samos. The Ir al Mesoi is a Ir Maskirate ben a Mason. We don't know exactly what this means, but a certain thing that they used to say a lot of a whole list of all the dead people that died, and they made like one big hesped for everything, something like that. It's pedano is a hesped through oiseloi hesped b'fnei atzma. Do that on